Chapter 1. Chapter 1. The first step of a zombie girl. I was still standing in front of the clothing store mirror. A pretty face, long hair, eyes that, honestly, looked a bit lifeless and creepy, stared back at me. I looked like the protagonist of a romantic zombie game, if you ignored the fact that I was a zombie here too. So, this is what it feels like to be a female lead? A zombie one, no less. My right hand suddenly lifted on its own. I didn't command it. It just moved. Then my fingers trembled slightly, like muscles that hadn't been calibrated properly. Click. I heard the joints in my shoulders shift. It didn't hurt, but it was disgusting. Yup, I'm officially the living dead. And this living corpse was spacing out alone in a clothing store. Dragging my feet slowly, I explored the shop. Not because I wanted to shop, but because, well, I had nothing else to do. I grabbed a long coat hanging from a rack and tried it on. Not bad. Zombie fashionista style. At least it covered the huge wounds on my arm and left shoulder. I also found a pair of boots. They fit perfectly. Either pure coincidence or the system was being kind. As I stepped out of the store, the status screen suddenly popped up in front of me. Main mission unlocked. Kill zombies, mutated animals, or humans to reach level 10 and evolve. Reward. Special dress. Auto repair function. Time remaining, 6 days, 23 hours, 51 minutes. Seriously, there's a time limit. I nearly fell from shock. But my legs were too stiff for a dramatic collapse, so I just plopped down like a broken doll. Evolve? So even zombies can level up? I didn't know whether to feel happy or hopeless. But one thing was clear. I didn't want to die again. Maybe I should start with the basics, finding food. Though I wasn't even sure if zombies still needed to eat, I started walking down the mall corridor. The stench, the sound of water dripping from a leaky ceiling, and the wrecked shops made it feel like a post-apocalyptic movie. But this was real. Then I smelled something, not the fancy perfume from the cosmetics store, but the scent of fresh meat. Alive. My steps, slow but steady, led me toward the source. And there, at the end of the hall, I saw a girl, a human, still alive. She looked panicked, hiding behind a vending machine, hugging a small bag and clutching a rusty golf club. My body moved. Instinctively, I took a step forward. Whoa, what am I doing? My stomach churned, not from hunger in the usual sense. This was primal instinct, zombie instinct. The bite skill activated. Wait a second. Don't activate on your own. My hands and jaw started to move on their own. I panicked. It was like autopilot. I tried to resist, but my body wasn't listening to me. I don't want to bite someone. I'm not a monster. Well, okay, I am a zombie now. But still, when I was just 5 steps away, the girl turned. Our eyes met. Her eyes widened in fear, but she didn't scream. She simply raised the golf club, ready to swing it hard. And at that moment, system has detected conflict between consciousness and instinct. System objective updated. Reward. Ability to upgrade or select a new skill. Condition. Fully suppress your instincts within 3 days. Chapter 2. Chapter 2. Zombie System Trial. I was still standing in front of that human girl. Her breath was ragged. Her hands trembled, still gripping that rusty golf club, ready to swing at any moment. My body was still half controlled by instinct. My jaw felt heavy, like it wanted to bite something. but I held it back. I focused, took a breath, or at least tried to, even though these lungs probably weren't working anymore. And miraculously, the bite skill was deactivated. Yes, I managed to suppress the instinct, but the human girl didn't know that. And then, whack, smack. The golf club swung straight at my head. My head jerked backward, my body wobbled, and I collapsed onto the floor. Ow, that actually hurt, I grumbled, though my lips could barely move. The girl stared at me, confused, and then ran, without a word, just a look of, "What the heck was that?" and quick steps fleeing the scene. "Yeah, just go already." I slowly lifted my hand. I don't know what that was either. After that incident, I got up and started walking through the mall again. I began to realize I needed to get stronger. If the system was like a game, then I needed to level up, right? Status. XP 05. Kill zombies, mutant animals, or humans of rank 0 to level up. Okay, so I need to kill 5 rank 0 creatures to get to level 1. I looked around. This mall should still have some residents. And sure enough, not far from the dead escalator, I saw a zombie crawling. Its eyes were blank, and its body was more decayed than mine. But clearly, that was a rank 0 zombie. I slowly approached and used my first skill, which sounded kinda lame. Skill, claw, skreek. Sharp claws sprouted from my fingers. My attack hit, split the zombie's head clean in half. It collapsed instantly. EXP +1. Nice. 1 down, 4 to go. I started to smile. Well, if I could smile. My mouth was really stiff, bro. A few minutes later, I managed to kill 2 mutant zombies and 1 mutated dog that weirdly had 2 heads. Total now 4, 5, 1 more. And as if on cue, another zombie appeared from behind a stack of food court chairs. It was bigger than the others, moved faster. Its eyes looked more furious. Target, zombie, rank 1. Huh? That's rank 1? The zombie lunged quickly. I blocked with my arm and countered with claws, but it was stronger. I was thrown back, crashing into a plastic table that shattered instantly. My HP dropped to 10/100. I panicked. Skill, regeneration, Lavige 1. My body slowly healed. The wound on my left shoulder closed up. The black blood stopped flowing. Thank goodness for this skill, I bit back. This time, it worked. My teeth sank into its neck, and I clawed its head to shreds until it stopped moving. EXP +5. Level up. Level 1, 4, 10. Whoa! 1 rank 1. Kill equals instant level up. I sat on the floor, mentally exhausted. Then I thought, so, 1 rank 1 equals 5 rank 0. That means the EXP system works like currency exchange. Nay, if I'm higher rank and kill a lower rank target, the XP won't be worth much. I started jotting it all down in my brain, though who knows if I even have a working brain anymore. Sylvia's notes, mentally written. Rank 0, need 5 kills to level up. Each level up equals the required kills doubled. Higher rank equals bigger exp. Much lower rank equal little or no XP. All right, system. I think I'm starting to understand your game. But suddenly, a voice echoed in my head. Warning. Detected. Zombie rank 2 within a 100-meter radius. Suggestion: avoid combat, or fight it and gain massive EXP? I froze. It's only chapter 2 and already feels like the end of a horror movie. Chapter 3. Chapter 3. Escape first, style later. The moment the system said there was a rank 2 zombie within 100 meters, I bolted without a second thought. I'm not ready. I'm only level 1. Brew! With movements more like a possessed puppet than a sprinter, I ran, or more like dragged my feet as fast as I could. Each step made crack and creak sounds, like my bones were protesting my life choices. Thankfully, the rank 2 zombie didn't chase me. Maybe it was sleepy, or maybe the system was just being kind to beginners. I stopped in front of a broken electronics store, went inside, and sat in a corner, between shattered TV shelves and piles of ancient DVDs, panting. Oh, right, I don't need to breathe anymore. Once I calmed down, I opened my mouth and muttered, Status. Name, Sylvia. Race, zombie. Rank 0. Level, 1, 10. Stats HP, 131. 200 dollars. Me, 0, 0. STR, strength, 60. VIT, vitality, 200. INT, intelligence, 10. AGI, agility, 3. Luck, error, active skills, bite, 1, 10. Claw, 2, 10. Passive skill, regeneration, 1, 10. 1. AP, second title. Reincarnated. I stared at the screen, feeling a mix of pride and confusion. Level 1, and I already have 200 HP. Is this a zombie body or an armored tank? STR went up by 10 points. Not bad for smashing enemies. VIT hit 200. That meant I could take a beating and still stay standing. AGI, well, it went up by 1. Still felt like a drunken snail. And Luke, still error. Why? Is a zombie not allowed to be lucky? I leaned my head back against the wall and looked up at the cracked ceiling. For some reason, my curiosity kept growing. What was the purpose of this system? Why was I reincarnated as a zombie? And why a girl? I mean, I'm not complaining, but this is all way too random. I stretched out my hand and looked at it closely. The wounds were still there, but they weren't bleeding anymore. I could even feel a faint flow of power from the regeneration skill. I may not be human anymore, but I'm still conscious. I still have a mind. And because of that, I could choose. Not just to be a regular zombie, but maybe to become the strongest zombie ever. Suddenly, a new screen appeared. System warning. You have resisted your zombie instincts. Self-control progress. 1 day out of 3. Maintain consciousness until day 3 to receive a new skill or stat upgrade. I clenched my fist. I won't give up just because I'm the Walking Dead now. I'll level up. I'll evolve. And maybe, someday, I looked at my reflection in the blank TV screen. I'll become more than just a zombie. Chapter 4. Leveling up hardcore. Zombie style. The next day, I officially became a zombie hunter. After running from the rank 2 zombie, I came up with a simple strategy. Find other zombies at my level or lower and beat them before they could bite me. Sounds easy. In practice, yeah, not so much. Zombies are everywhere, but they're not all stupid. Some crawled through the streets, some leapt like frogs. and one of those almost took off half my arm with a sneak attack. But thanks to my upgraded claw skill, I could fight back faster. My slashes now were deadly, literally. Every time I killed a rank 0 creature, I felt this strange energy surge into my body. It was like replacing a dead battery with a fresh one, hot, raw, and dangerously addictive. I had no idea what time it was, but when the sky started to glow red and the strange noises in the mall quieted down, I knew night had fallen. I limped into an old changing room, shut the door as best as I could, and sat in the corner, hugging my knees. I called up my status screen again. Status. Name: Sylvia Hortensia Race. Zombie. Rank 0. Level 510. Stats: HP 400 SARS 500. MEP 00. Sturkey. Strength 110. VT. Vitality 500. NT. Intelligence 10. AGI. Agility 8. Luck. Error. Active skills: Bite 2, 10. Claw 5, 10. Passive skills: Regeneration 3, 10. 3. Jumped P. Second title. Reincarnated. I'm insane. 4 levels in one day. What kind of zombie am I? I stretched out my fingers. They were starting to feel more flexible, more alive, though that word felt a bit ironic. Regeneration was definitely active now. I could feel the wounds I took earlier slowly closing up. No pain, no sound, just cold. If humans need sleep, what do zombies need? Emotional rest? My eyes stared up at the dark ceiling. On one hand, I wasn't tired, but on the other, there was a strange emptiness hanging over me. Maybe because I still carried memories of being human. A 40-year-old man who worked like a mule, loved coffee, and always dreamed of a second life. And now I actually got that second life, though, well, in the form of an undead teenage girl. Irony of the century. System warning. Day 2. You have resisted your zombie instincts. Self-control status: 2 out of 3 days. Survive 1 more day to unlock a special upgrade. I nodded slowly. Just 1 more day. Then we'll see, Sylvia, if you can still stay yourself. I leaned my head against the wall, not sleeping, just still, watching the darkness, waiting for morning. A zombie girl, awaiting her evolution. Chapter 5. Chapter 5. Leveling up, nearly dying, and the intelligent undead. Day 3. I sat behind the shattered display of an eyeglass store, staring at my faint reflection in the cracked glass. My right arm was still trembling from the earlier fight against a small horde of zombies. I counted. Around 20 rank 0 creatures. Not hard when you've got claw, love 5, and muscles like rebar. But still, this body, strong as it was, wasn't human. Stiff, slow, strange. I wanted to rest, not because I was tired, but I just wanted to pause, sit down, be alone, reflect on life, or death, in my case. I stood up and started walking again, dragging my feet through the dark aisles of a supermarket, hoping to find that one last creature to push me to level 10. And then, Srak! Something burst out from behind a pile of collapsed shelves, fast, heavy. It slammed into me and sent me flying into a freezer wall. Cracks spread across my body. Cold seeped in. Ugh, damn it. My eyes caught it. Over 2 meters tall, muscles bloated beyond reason, half its face torn off but one eye glowing red. A rank 2 zombie. Why do they always show up when I just want to take a break? I stood slowly and took my stance. It didn't wait. It lunged and punched straight at me. Boom! The punch obliterated the fridge behind me, but I survived. Barely. My left claw blocked its arm, and my right claw slashed at its neck, claw of 5. Critical hit. Black blood sprayed, but it didn't stop. It only went wilder. I dodged, leapt behind a shelf, grabbed a glass bottle and hurled it at its eye. Not to hurt it, but to buy time to think. This body was strong, but I wasn't a natural fighter. I was just an ordinary person who happened to become a zombie girl with an RPG system. Think, Sylvia. You were an office worker. No way you lose in a logic game against a walking pile of meat. I started moving to the other side, lured it into a trap between fallen shelves, pinning it down for a few seconds, then bite. Loof to neck. I bit its neck with all my strength. My fangs hit bone, then pierced through. It thrashed, but it was enough. With my final burst of power, I tore into its chest, stabbing deep with my claws. And finally, Zombie Rank 2. Eliminated. Level up. Name, Sylvia Race. Zombie, Rank 0. Level, 10, 10. Evolution conditions fulfilled. Evolution path unlocked. Please choose your evolution at a safe location. I collapsed onto the floor, not from exhaustion, but because I won, alone, against something that should have killed me. I'm still here. With stumbling steps, I returned to my little hideout, a place where I could feel, even just a little, like myself. And when the status screen appeared again, status, name, Sylvia Race, zombie, rank 0, level, 10 stuns, 10, stats HP 5, 1000, memp 00, Estra 150, VIT 1000, INT 10, AGI 12, Luke, error, active skills, bite 310, claw 610, passive skills, regeneration 510, 5, ape key sec, title, Reincarnated evolutionally available. Please select. And the screen lit up. 3 silhouettes appeared faintly. 3 choices. 3 paths. 3 fates I could choose. But that would be for tomorrow. Chapter 6. Chapter 6. First Evolution. An undead who chooses her path. I sat with my back against the cracked wall of my little hideout, a small room in the basement of a mall that might have once been a storage closet. The system screen still glowed faintly in front of me. Evolution available. Choose an evolution path. Medium zombie body reinforced. Basic zombie abilities doubled. No major change in appearance, but durability and reflexes increase significantly. Low-rank ghoul evolution toward a fast and feral predator. Focuses on speed and agility. Appearance becomes more terrifying. Lesser vampire, unstable path. Grants a small bonus to healing and blood manipulation. However, due to the undead body, effects are limited. Appearance becomes more human-like, but the bloodlust aura intensifies. I stared at the options. Choices that, strangely, felt like they were about to determine my entire life path. Even though I was a zombie, a walking corpse, But maybe exactly because I wasn't human anymore, this choice might give me direction. Ghoul was tempting. Lesser vampires sounded cool. But I still want to stay at least half sane, I muttered. I knew that if I wanted to maintain my consciousness, I had to pick the stable path, the one that wasn't too extreme. I choose medium zombie. Evolution confirmed. Evolution beginning. Progress 5%, 10%, 20%, 50%, 99%. Evolution successful. Rank increased. Zombie, medium, zombie. Rank 1. Stats have been upgraded. All base stats doubled. Skill levels increased by +3. Reward. New skill unlocked. Dash. Description. Dash allows the user to move at high speed for a short time. Normally consumes stamina, but the current user has no stamina system. Skill can be used limitlessly, with a short cooldown. I closed my eyes. My body felt warm. Not the warmth of a human, but like sparks of electricity running through frozen muscle and dead flesh. My bones tightened. My muscles felt like they were being reconstructed. Not painful, but uncomfortable. Like wearing a new body that fit too perfectly. Then my status screen popped up again. Status. Name. Sylvia. Race. Medium zombie. Rank 1. Levels are 20. Stats. HP. 2000. 2000. MP. 000. SSR. 300. VIT. 2000. INT. 20. AGI. 24. Luki. Error. Active skills. Bite. 6 to 10. Claw. 9, 10. Dash. 1, 10. Passive skills. Regeneration. 8, 10. 8. HP. Sec. Title. Reincarnated. First evolution. I stood slowly. My movement was different, lighter, quicker. My legs no longer dragged, my hands no longer trembled. I tried running a bit down the hallway. Zup! I shot forward like an arrow. In one blink, I crashed into the wall. Ow! Okay, I need practice. But this is amazing. This body. I'm not just any zombie anymore. And maybe, for the first time since I died, I feel like there's hope. Chapter 7. Chapter 7. The Bloody Dress and Death Claws. I almost forgot something. When my status screen appeared after the evolution, there was one thing still pending. A promise made by the system when I first received the mission. Main mission. First evolution. Completed. Reward. Special dress. Auto repair. Reward sent to inventory. Would you like to equip it now? Yes. No. I stared at the virtual button, a little hesitant but also curious. Honestly, I didn't expect the system to actually follow through with a fashion reward. But hey, who could say no to free clothes? Yes. A deep red light wrapped around my body. The ragged coat I picked up from that store a week ago turned into shimmering dust, replaced by a dress that looked like it was sewn from shadows themselves. Pitch black, with streaks of blood red, torn in places, not from age, but as if designed to emphasize that its wearer was something that had died and returned. The dress fluttered softly with my movement. Its fabric felt cold, but not uncomfortable, almost like it fused with my skin. Perfect for a stylish undead like me, I muttered, twirling slowly to let the hem of the dress dance around me. But that day, I couldn't just sit and play dress-up. Evolution meant new responsibilities and stronger enemies. I began hunting again. What I found was underwhelming. Rank 0 enemies, the ones I used to hunt for level ups, now gave almost no experience. They were just walking meat. No real threat. Even my basic strikes could tear them apart like soaked paper. No thrill, no pressure, just leftover flesh and the stench of old blood. I needed a new challenge. All afternoon I wandered through alleys, crumbled apartments, and misty underground parking lots. Occasionally I'd spot a mutant animal, three-eyed cats or hairless oversized dogs, that would snarl and then flee. They weren't stupid. They knew I wasn't an easy target anymore. Still, my effort paid off. Level up. 0. 2. Skill. Claw has reached maximum level. Skill evolved into sharp nails. Level 1. Effect. User's nails extend and harden like metal blades. Can pierce light armor. Each attack carries a zombie poison effect, accelerates target tissue decay. I stood beneath the moonlight atop a half-collapsed building and stared at my hands. My nails, once cracked and dull, had transformed into sleek, sharp blades of dark metal. A faint greenish sheen pulsed at the tips, like a whisper of death ready to spread. I swung my hand slowly, and the sharpness sang in the air like a whispering scythe. "I'm really becoming more of a monster," I whispered. But a part of me didn't fear that. It felt proud. This monster had fangs now. Night fell. The wind carried the scent of rot and burnt dust. I returned to my little room, my steps light and steady, despite the ruined world outside. My new dress remained intact, though now stained with blood and bits of flesh. I sat down, leaning against the rusted iron door, and stared at the cracked ceiling. This body, this strength, they still felt unfamiliar, yet slowly. They were becoming home, and with every step I took, with every creature I struck down, I felt myself getting closer to something. A destiny? A purpose? Or maybe my new place in this broken world? I didn't know, but I would keep moving forward. Chapter 8. Outside the mall and the unexpected attack. Morning came without sunlight. The sky remained gray, clouded with dust and the remnants of fires. Who knows where they had started? But for some reason, I was bored. I had spent 2 days hiding in this mall, and now this place felt too quiet, too clean of zombies. Thanks to my rather diligent hunting, I opened my status screen, hoping something had changed. Status. Name: Sylvia Hortensia. Race: medium zombie. Rank 1. Level 220. Stats: HP 2400. 2400. MP 0. Star 340. C. VT 2400. INT 20. AGI 28. Look. Error active skills. Bite 6 to 10. Sharp nails 120. Dash 110. Passive skills. Regeneration 8 to 10. 8 HP. Esque. Titles: Reincarnated. First evolution. Still far from enough, I muttered, standing up and stretching. A few joints cracked, but that was normal now. I decided to leave them all. It wasn't easy. Most emergency exits were jammed, and the only way out was to leap over a half-collapsed railing on the second floor. But thanks to my new body, I managed it with relative grace, even if my landing still made a rather clumsy thud. The outside world was silent. Collapsed buildings, cracked streets, abandoned cars. But one thing was certain: there were more zombies out here. Unfortunately, most of them were still rank 0. But better that than doing nothing. So I started hunting again. All day I darted from block to block, using dash to strike quickly, slashing with sharp nails, dodging with my enhanced agility. My movements grew smoother, my body more responsive. Level up, 2, 5. And then, just as dusk fell and I was heading back to the mall, I encountered something unexpected. Humans. 10 of them, all armed, wearing makeshift uniforms, but from how they moved, I could tell they were trained fighters. I froze, held my breath, even though I didn't need to breathe. Don't move. Don't look threatening. I didn't want to hurt them. But one of them shouted, "Zombie, fire!" Wait. I whispered in my mind. Too late. The first bullet tore through my shoulder. It didn't hurt, but it was annoying. I'm already dead, you idiots, I thought to myself. I didn't want to fight, but they gave me no choice. I activated dash, zipped sideways, spun around, and struck with sharp nails. They were skilled. 2 managed to dodge. The rest weren't so lucky. The battle was quick. Blood, bullets, and screams filled the dying daylight. But in the end, I won. I stood among the rubble, my body covered in blood that wasn't mine. They were all down, some still breathing, groaning in pain. I hadn't killed them all. I wasn't a monster. I just defended myself. Level up, 5, 6 skill sharp nails, love 2, skill regeneration, love 9, 11, HP esiki, skill, dash, love 4. I returned to my hideout, this time with heavier steps. Like a ritual, I checked my status again after battle. Status, name, Sylvia Hortensia. Race, medium zombie. Rank 1. Level, 6 to 20. Stats, HP, 3200. 3200. MP, 0, STR, 420. VIT, 3200. INT, G20. AGI, 44. Low-key, error, active skills. Bite, 610. Sharp nails, 220. Dash, 410. Passive skill, regeneration, 9, 10, 9. Ahasai Esiki. Titles, Reincarnated. First Evolution. I stared at the numbers, stronger, but further away from being human. And strangely, I started to wonder, if I keep going like this, can I still call myself Sylvia? Chapter 9. Chapter 9. A light amidst the apocalypse. World. The morning sky looked murky, covered in thick clouds that never truly left since the world collapsed. The sun left only a faint trace of light, barely piercing through the gray mist. From behind the fortified window of the military base, I, Sophia, stood still. My once messy hair was now tied neatly back, and the special combat uniform issued by the base clung tightly to my body. a light white armor adorned with a golden wing insignia on the chest. Outside, the undead wandered aimlessly, filling the ruined streets, dark alleys, and collapsed buildings that had become the city's grave. Inside, humanity struggled to survive, wounded, fragile, but still breathing. "Today's target has been confirmed," said a muscular man with a long scar across his cheek. Captain Irvin, our expedition leader. His voice was rough, like stone worn down by time. "South Mall Zone. Plenty of rank 0 zombies, but reports say there's strange movement. Everyone stay alert." I gave a slow nod. My left hand trembled slightly, not out of fear, but because the light magic within me was reacting to the dark waves in the distance. It felt like a foul breath creeping into the lungs, even though nothing could be smelled. Since this power awakened, somehow, I could sense undead auras like a stench of death drifting in the air. "Sophia," came a soft voice beside me. Nina, a young girl on our team, looked pale, her eyes blinking nervously. "Are you sure you can lead this mission? We've heard a lot of people died there." I smiled, gently, but with confidence. "If we don't become the light, then who will?" We moved swiftly. A small team, only 5 of us. I led the front. A faint, white glow enveloped my hand. Holy light. The name I spoke the first time this magic answered my call. The light was warm, not burning, but purifying, as if this power wasn't just magic, but hope made manifest, and a reminder of the sin I once committed. Back then, on the first day of the apocalypse, I hit a zombie girl with a golf club in a supermarket parking lot. It was a reflex, but when my eyes met hers, I realized she wasn't like the others. Not rabid, not screaming, just still, with sad eyes that never got to speak. Now I wonder, is she still out there? We arrived near the mall. The scent of blood, rotting flesh, and damp air greeted us like a hug from death. But something was off. The ground had already been cleared of many zombies. Rank, corpses littered the area in mangled states. Some were missing heads. Others were torn apart like they'd been slashed by something sharp, but not by any human weapon. "This wasn't done by some survivor," one of the squad murmured. "This was the work of something powerful." I stepped closer to one of the corpses. The gashes were too precise. Claws, talons, but too clean to be an animal. "Be careful. There's something here that's not human, but also not a normal zombie." And that's when I saw her. Atop the partially collapsed mall roof stood a female silhouette in a tattered black and red dress. Her dress fluttered softly in the dusk, her figure like a shadow carved from a nightmare. She stood still, motionless, but I knew she was watching us. My eyes widened. Long hair, familiar movement, empty eyes that still held something. It was her. That girl. But this time, I was no longer the scared girl with a golf club and trembling hands. Now I was a light that purifies. And if she had become darkness, then we are destined to meet again. Chapter 10. Chapter 10. The Undead Witch. I, Sophia, never imagined I'd witness a creature like that. That day, we were conducting a routine patrol on the upper floor of the mall we had just reclaimed from a zombie horde the night before. Most of the area had been cleared, but the atmosphere was still unnerving. The smell of dried blood, remnants of rotting bodies, and walls covered in claw marks and bullet holes created a silence thick with tension. But none of that compared to what awaited us at the end of the corridor. There, amidst dozens of wandering rank 0 zombies, stood a girl. She looked young. Her body was thin, but upright. Long hair partially covered her face. A black dress with red accents wrapped around her figure like the midnight mist. At first, I thought she was just another survivor, someone who had somehow managed to camouflage herself among the undead. But she wasn't. She started to move. And in mere seconds, the air turned into a massacre. Glowing green claws slashed through air and flesh. Each time she struck, a zombie fell apart like it had been cut by a chemical blade. Skin blistered, muscles melted, some even popped from within, as if hit by corrosive venom. But what chilled me the most, she smiled. Not a mad or cruel smile. More like someone who finally felt free. We need to fall back, I whispered to the team, my voice stuck in my throat. That's a zombie, right? Asked Rena, our healer, her eyes wide with disbelief. No, look at how she moves. That's not a normal zombie. Camille, our sniper, had already raised his rifle, but I held his arm down. Don't! She's tearing through rankas like nothing. If she sees us, we might be next. We crouched behind the broken remains of a storefront display, holding our breath. No one spoke. No one moved. Only the sounds of ripping flesh and the groans of the undead echoed, until they slowly faded. After several minutes, that felt like a lifetime, she finally stopped. Without a word, the girl walked away. Her steps light, graceful like a dancer, not heavy like a zombie, not frantic like a survivor, more like a shadow that knew she no longer belonged to this world. Once we were sure she was truly gone, we hurried back to the underground base. No one spoke on the way. Even Dito, who was usually the loudest, stayed silent. We all knew, whatever that thing was, we couldn't fight it. As soon as I returned to base, I wrote a report. The words felt stiff beneath my fingers, my mind still struggling to process what I had seen. Female creature, young appearance, black and red dress, capable of slaughtering rank 0 zombies within seconds, possesses toxic or corrosive claws, fast and precise movement, high threat level. No signs of communication or aggression toward humans so far, but danger level is confirmed to be extremely high. The report was immediately sent to the military observation unit. A few hours later, when I was called to the briefing room, I saw it. A new entry on the threat classification board, code name, Zombie Witch. Status, unknown. Suspected to be an evolved zombie individual. Direct contact prohibited, except for high-level observation or containment using special forces. The military brass read my report with furrowed brows. Some began whispering among themselves. Others stared at drone footage capturing the girl's silhouette from afar. Blurry, but clear enough to make out her striking dress and her movements, which were nothing like a zombie's. I sat quietly, gripping a small pendant I'd kept since before the world fell apart. Its shine had faded, but it still felt warm in my hand. It used to belong to my mother. Now, it was the only thing that reminded me I was still human. I looked at my own reflection in the glass wall of the briefing room. My eyes didn't lie. There was something in that figure, something more than just a threat. There was awareness. There was suffering. Who are you, really? Chapter 11, Chapter 11. Shadowed by the military. Haunted by myself. It's been a week since I evolved. Since that day, I've felt changes beyond the physical. My body grew stronger, yes, but more than that, I began to feel it. The presence, the eyes, someone, or rather, some people were watching me, sometimes from a distance, sometimes from the shadows of crumbling high-rises. I couldn't see them directly, but I knew. The chill that crept down my spine, the subtle shifts in air pressure, it all screamed of surveillance. They didn't attack, just observed. Maybe because they realized something I didn't attack humans unless provoked. I had no interest in killing them. Even when someone accidentally wandered into my hunting zone, I only watched, assessed whether they were dangerous. If not, I let them go. But when they attacked first, I didn't show mercy. I haven't forgotten who I used to be, but I also can't forget who I am now. A living corpse with a heart. Ironic, isn't it? My days remained the same, hunting zombies. But now, I hunted with terrifying efficiency. My claws, my primary weapon, sharp nails, tore through flesh with practiced ease. Every strike painted the ruined world with splashes of crimson, the scent of blood thick in the air, the sound of lifeless bodies crashing to the ground like broken dolls. And battle after battle, I continued to grow. Level 16-20. Skill. Sharp nails. Love. Tint. 20. Skill. Med regeneration. Love. 120. Skill. Phantom dash. Leave chun. 20. Med regeneration. The evolved form of regeneration granted me unparalleled healing capabilities. Wounds that used to take hours to close, now mended in mere minutes. Minor cuts, gone in seconds. Med regeneration, love 120, restores 42 HP per second. Bonus effect. If the user remains stationary for 5 seconds, healing rate doubles for 10 seconds. My body was nearly unstoppable. I could fight endlessly because unless I was obliterated instantly, I would regenerate and resume the slaughter. Then came the new skill, Phantom Dash. Unlike the simple burst of speed from a dash, this one distorted reality itself. My body shimmered as it moved, momentarily phasing through space. Not only fast, but almost untouchable. Phantom Dash, ELVAT 120. Move at high speed instantly, leaving behind a false shadow. Additional effect, 30% chance to evade physical or bullet attacks for 1 second after dashing. With this ability, I once dodged gunfire from a panicked scout squad. They shot on instinct. I vanished, then reappeared silently behind them. I didn't attack. I just watched. And they ran, terrified. Now, I am stronger, faster, harder to stop. But the more I grow, the more distant I feel from the world of the living. I have no place among them. Yet I don't belong to the world of the undead either. I am caught in between, a foreign entity, hunted, categorized, and ultimately named. They call me the zombie witch, don't they? Funny. All I ever wanted was to survive. As night fell, I returned to my hideout, a forgotten basement beneath a decaying building, my only sanctuary, where no one stared, judged, or feared me. I leaned against the cracked wall, staring into the fragmented mirror lying nearby. Tangled hair, faintly glowing eyes, and a soft smile I couldn't quite explain. Am I still me? Chapter 12. Chapter 12. Fear that fuels war. That morning, the air in the underground base's briefing room was thick with tension. The stale scent of cheap coffee and sweat lingered like ghosts in the narrow, dim-lit space, filled with high-ranking officers and a few chosen field operatives. On the wide screen affixed to the front wall, a grainy, drone-captured photo flickered into focus, the silhouette of a woman clad in black and crimson, the one they called the Zombie Witch. I sat in the front row, fingers tightly gripping the folder of my latest report. Around me, it felt less like a meeting and more like the quiet moments before a battlefield ignites with the first bullet. And as of now, her level is nearing the threshold of rank 1, said Colonel Rendra, pointing at the screen with a laser pen. If she evolves again, we have no idea what kind of threat we'll be facing. She hasn't shown aggression toward humans unless provoked, I said, keeping my voice calm but firm. We can't justify killing someone just because we're afraid of what they might become. Major Harun, sitting to Ren's right, shook his head. You said it yourself in your report, Sophia. She slaughtered dozens of zombies without blinking. If she ever turned that power on humans, do you really think we'd stand a chance? Fear doesn't equal actual threat, I replied, rising to my feet. Ordinary zombies are more brutal. They attack humans without a second thought, but she avoids conflict, unless absolutely necessary. And what if she changes her mind and storms this base? Lieutenant Arga snapped, his face flushed with anger. 1 second of hesitation, and we're all dead. The room erupted in arguments, shouting voices clashing like blades. Some of us believed letting the zombie witch live was the most rational path. As long as she wasn't disturbed, she posed no real danger. But the others, the louder half, refused to gamble on an unpredictable variable. To them, her existence was a threat, and a threat must be eliminated. I scanned the room. Exhausted faces, drawn tight with fear. These people weren't thinking of justice or morality. They were thinking of survival. She's not a monster, not because of her body, but because of her choices, I said softly. And so far, she's chosen not to kill us. But in the end, logic lost to fear. Colonel Wren stood and rapped his knuckles on the table. After careful consideration, the assault operation will commence in 3 days. Target, the zombie witch. Objective, total neutralization. Full mobilization begins today. Sophia, you'll join as field observer. I froze. The weight of that order pressed against my chest like a stone. The decision is final. Meeting adjourned. One by one, people filed out of the room, some with expressions of relief, others with eyes cast downward, heavy with guilt or doubt. I remained seated, staring at the black silhouette still frozen on the screen. She never asked to become as a zombie. Just like me, she was merely trying to survive in a world that had already fallen apart. But this world doesn't leave space for those who are different. Dito, one of my squad mates, approached quietly and whispered, "If she finds out we're going to attack her, what do you think she'll do?" I shook my head. I don't know, but I'm certain of one thing. If we start this war, no one will walk away without scars. 3 days, only 3 days left before the world tries to destroy something it never truly tried to understand. And me, just an ordinary girl who once hit her with a rusty golf club, I've now been tasked with witnessing the end of something that might be our only hope for a different kind of evolution. Chapter 13. Chapter 13. Burning Rage. flowing blood. 3 days had passed since that meeting. I, Sylvia, was still doing the same thing as before hunting. The mall that used to be full of zombies was now nearly empty. Its floors were clean of the walking dead, leaving only the stench of death clinging to the walls and dark hallways. The flickering, broken neon lights seemed to breathe in the silence. I remained here, alone, in an eerie stillness, as if the world was holding its breath. I knew they were still watching me. Drones, shadows, hidden cameras, human eyes spying from afar, thinking I hadn't noticed them. But I didn't attack. I had never hurt them if they don't attack me first. I just wanted to live, to walk alone through the remnants of this city, waiting for something, anything, hope, understanding, or maybe just a peaceful end. But this morning, everything changed. The sky trembled with the roar of helicopters. The floor beneath my feet shook slightly. I turned and saw them. Tanks, fully armed soldiers, snipers positioned on nearby buildings. Armored vehicles surrounded the mall from all sides, like a spider's web waiting to crush its prey. I looked at them from behind the second-floor window, not challenging, not hiding, just wondering. What's going on? Then suddenly, bullets rained down on me. I dodged in time. Some shots missed, but several hit my arm and thigh. A sharp pain slashed through me, even though this body was no longer like before. HP 320. I took cover behind a concrete wall, panting, confused. "Why?" I whispered. Another bullet pierced my shoulder. A burning sensation spread like poison. HP 180. They attacked me. Without reason. Without warning. Even after all this time, I'd restrained myself. My hands trembled. Not from pain, but from something erupting inside my chest. Anger, heartbreak, betrayal. I bit my lip. Blood trickled from the corner. My claws scratched the floor, now as sharp as blades. I didn't need to breathe, but this emotion was real, burning like an eternal flame. If that's how it is, then I'll fight back. My body launched forward. Phantom Dash 5. Activated. I moved too fast for human eyes. Bullets flew, but few landed. A squad in front of me, 10 men, screamed in surprise. Too late. My sharp claws slashed. Flesh tore. Blood sprayed. Sharp nails leave 16. Corrosion effect. Active. They screamed and tried to flee, but I gave them no chance. I started to lose control, but I didn't care. A tank fired. I dodged at the last second. The blast shook the ground. I leapt onto it, tearing off the top hatch, ripping the driver inside with a single brutal motion. Blood splattered onto my face, dripping into my eyes, but I no longer felt disgust. Helicopters fired from above. I hid behind buildings, but bullets came from every direction. They were waiting for me to emerge, like hunters waiting for their tired prey. HP 460. Med regeneration active. Plus 41. HP sec. Why are you doing this? Why? I caught a soldier who had fallen. He begged. His eyes trembled. I saw him. There was a human behind that helmet. I hesitated. That moment stretched endlessly. Then another bullet struck me from the side. I roared. And without thinking, my hand tore through his throat. I didn't start this. Now blood covered my face. Bullets kept coming. My body began to tire. Muscles tensed. My regeneration skill worked overtime just to keep me on my feet. HP 29D I swept across the battlefield with an empty gaze. The mall's walls were riddled with holes. Fires were starting in several places. Corpses littered the ground like autumn leaves. Some humans were still alive, crawling away from me, screaming. I didn't chase them. I just stood there, watching. And for the first time, I felt hollow. "Why did you attack me?" I whispered, but voice just growling. I killed, slashed, tore. But they were too many. More or less 500 people. Tanks, helicopters, snipers. They sent an army like they were facing an S-class monster. But I was just alone. I started to stumble, but I didn't give up. Because if I were going to die here, then I'd take as many of you down with me as I could. I leapt onto a rooftop, charging a sniper who had shot me earlier. My hand pierced his body before he could scream. Blood flowed down my fingers, warming my cold flesh. One more. Two more. The gunshots fell silent, one by one. But I was also losing focus. Skills kept draining me. HP kept falling. The world spun like an endless nightmare. Then I saw someone. A girl. She stood in the middle of the ruins. She had long, wavy, golden hair, wearing white military garb and holding a cross-shaped spear. A faint light surrounded her like mist, and she wasn't afraid. Her eyes met mine, and somehow I felt exposed, as if all my rage, despair, and brutality meant nothing before her calm gaze. But I was already too far gone to stop now. Chapter 14. Chapter 14. The final step. An endless distance blood. That scent choked my nose. My vision blurred with red, dripping from my forehead, my chin, my entire body. The world spun like I was drunk, trapped in a nightmare with no end. I kept moving, attacking, clawing, tearing like an animal that had lost its mind. My hands were full of wounds. My legs dragged as I ran, my body pelted with bullets without mercy. HP 690 5600. I could still stand, but each step felt heavier, and I almost collapsed. But instinct dragged me forward. One more soldier, then another. I brought them down with the sound of cracking bones, screams, and splashes of blood. Then another shot struck my back. HP 310 5600. I dropped to my knees. My entire body felt like it was being pierced from the inside. Heat burned from the wounds that hadn't had time to heal. HP 180 5600. My hand clawed the concrete floor, scraping it until my nails broke. I tried to stand, but this body, it could no longer keep up. They kept attacking the roar of tanks, the screams of commanders. All of it echoed at once, but none of it was clear anymore. The sound in my ears began to fade, replaced by the deafening thump inside my head. I was no longer the calm Sylvia. I was just a wounded creature, cornered. HP 10 5600. And at that moment, something inside me exploded. I didn't know what I was thinking. All I knew was I didn't want to die here. I didn't want to die. Phantom-Love 5 activated. I poured everything I had left into it. I didn't even know how many times I forced my instincts to activate it. Over and over. That skill, It didn't stop. My body shot forward. Then again, and again. It felt like I wasn't touching the ground, like I was passing through space, like I'm disappearing. The world around me shifted. Light, shadows, darkness, ruins, roads, forests. I didn't know. It was all a blur. I didn't know how many times I jumped 5, 10, 100. I only knew I was moving away from death, away from them, from the tanks, the bullets, the people who wanted to destroy me, until finally, darkness. I fell. I don't know where my body hit a hard ground, but I felt no pain, only cold. The night wind blew gently, wet leaves clung to my face. Far from the sound of machines and far from human voices, I couldn't move my body anymore. Even my eyelids felt heavy. But I was aware I was still alive. That alone was enough. Then, through the fog of what little consciousness I had left, I heard a voice, cold, mysterious, as if it came from the darkness itself. New skill acquired. Void. Step Love 1. Description. A step that passes through the void, allows for instant relocation within a certain distance. Overuse may cause disorientation and physical damage. I wanted to laugh, but only a weak breath came out ragged and broken. How ironic to gain a new power in the middle of death. But I was too tired, too broken. I felt afraid of death, even though I had already died once and become a zombie. Still, it was terrifying. I was lucky to survive this time, but maybe not the next. And as the peace and quiet wrapped around me, my consciousness slowly faded. The world went black, and I fell asleep, even though I was a zombie. And just before I completely lost consciousness, I heard a soft but cold voice. What an interesting girl. I'll give you a gift. I didn't know what the gift was, or who the voice belonged to, because by then, I was completely asleep. Chapter 15. Chapter 15. The Disappearing in Shadow. What just happened? Captain Darius's voice sounded stiff in the dust-filled air, thick with the smell of gunpowder. The entire battlefield around the mall was destroyed. Concrete walls riddled with holes, tanks in flames, and unmoving bodies scattered across pools of blood. But the figure at the center of it all, the creature they had dubbed the Zombie Witch, was gone, vanished without a trace. "Target has gone dark," said one of the operators with a trembling voice, staring at the screen of his military tablet. "The last drone lost signal when she moved. We don't know in which direction." That wasn't normal speed. That wasn't dash like before. It was something else. Sophia stood not far from them. Dust clung to her white cloak, and her face was pale. She had seen with her own eyes how the creature endured a brutal assault, how she tore through dozens of soldiers without hesitation, how her body was drenched in blood. Yet her eyes, they weren't the eyes of a monster. They were the eyes of someone betrayed. "Someone give me a playback of her last movement. Now," barked Lieutenant Colonel Adrian from the command post. His voice shook, not from anger, but fear. The drone footage appeared on a large screen mounted on one of the command trucks. Everyone fell silent. On screen, the zombie witch staggered in the middle of the battlefield. Her body was nearly destroyed, but she still stood. Then she ran and vanished. Not escaped or not hiding. Vanished, as if swallowed by shadows. "Camouflage tech?" asked one of the military scientists. "Impossible," replied a tactical analyst. Sophia wrapped her arms around herself, trembling, not from the cold, but from a creeping dread that spread through her heart like mist. "She's not dead," she whispered. Captain Darius turned to her. "What do you mean?" "She's not dead. I know it. I can feel it. She's still alive." Sophia pressed her lips tightly. "And she will come back." "Are you scared?" Darius asked, his tone gentler than usual. Sophia looked him straight in the eye. "Aren't you? She never attacked us first. She always avoided conflict. But we threw everything we had at her." Silence fell over the makeshift base. All the soldiers, technicians, and commanders stood still. The victory they had expected to claim today felt hollow, even absurd. What had they done? "I told you," a young analyst said quietly. "We provoked her. We started this. We acted out of fear, not reason." "And now," Sophia added, "we live under the shadow of a wrath we don't understand." "Lieutenant," Colonel Adrian slammed his hand onto the table. "We can't live in uncertainty like this. If she comes back and stronger than before, it could be the end of us all. We need a plan, contingencies, surveillance, everything." "But how?" asked Captain Darius. "We don't even know where she is. Our tracking systems failed. All signals are gone. Even high-end military drones lost contact. She's truly vanished." "Unless," Sophia narrowed her eyes, deep in thought, "unless she has a new ability." All eyes turned to her. "I've seen the look of cornered creatures. They run, but she didn't just run. She relocated, not with her feet. More like she stepped out of this world." "Teleportation?" asked one of the scientists, unsure. "Not exactly," Sophia shook her head. "More like passing through space and shadow, like she pierced through dimensional boundaries with nothing but her instinct, like she opened a tear and slipped into it." Silence again. Then, Lieutenant Colonel Adrian slowly nodded. "In that case, we classify this as a red-level scenario. Maximum threat. This creature is no mere evolved zombie. She has consciousness, and now she has a reason to hate us." He looked at Sophia. "We'll assemble a special team, elite, researchers and executioners. Will study every possibility. And when she returns, we'll be ready." Sophia wanted to argue, wanted to say that this decision would only make things worse. But in her heart, she knew it was useless. Humans fear what they don't understand. And of all the things they had encountered since the world fell, the zombie witch was the one they understood the least. Chapter 16. Chapter 16. Sleepless Night and Blazing Evolution. Sophia stared at the ceiling of her cold, dimly lit room at the base. A soft pillow, warm blanket. Even the scent of lavender from the diffuser couldn't bring her to sleep. That gaze, that look, haunted her. The eyes of the zombie witch, not the eyes of a monster, not mindless rage, but eyes filled with sorrow, despair, and betrayal. Sophia bit her lip, clutching her clothes tightly. She remembered every movement of the zombie witch. How she dodged the first shot, how her body was covered in wounds, how she eventually rampaged and tore through soldiers as if they were her lifelong enemies. But Sophia knew it wasn't because the zombie witch was bloodthirsty. It was because of an invisible wound, a wound planted by humans. She shut her eyes, wishing the image would vanish, but it never did. Morning came. Sophia stood at the command room's table, her eyes red and puffy. She hadn't slept all night. Her hair was slightly messy and her tired face. Captain Darius watched her but said nothing. Meanwhile, far away, I woke up. My body was cold, weak, but still intact, still alive. I blinked. I looked at the sky above me. Not the city sky, but a peaceful forest, leaves swaying gently, the wind whispering strange sounds. I'm alive? My hand moved, pressing into the ground. I slowly got up, feeling the pulse still flowing in my body. Then, the system's voice echoed in my mind like a soft but clear whisper. Status. Name: Sylvia Hortensia. Race: medium. Zombie. Rank 1. Level 20. Stats: HP 3400, 6000. MP 00. STR 690. VIT 6800. INT 20. AGI 92. Luki. Error. Active skills. Infectious bite 120. Razor. Toxic clots 140. Phantom dash 1020. Void. Steps 110. Passive skills. Killing stroke. Med regeneration 10 to 20. 62 HP CC. Titles: Reincarnated. First evolution. I froze. Some of my skills had changed, evolved. Infectious bite. My bite now carried an active infection. Every enemy bitten would weaken, and if they died from the effect, it could spread to others. Razor, toxic claw. My claws were now laced with deadly poison, neurotoxin, hemotoxin, even corrosion. I could feel the changes in my nails and finger muscles, sharper, deadlier, and void steps, a new skill. I didn't know how I got it, but I remembered. At that moment, when my HP was down to 10, I stepped into darkness, as if the world vanished, and I crossed into something untouchable. Void steps allowed me to move through shadows, as if I became one with the void. But it required certain conditions: critical HP, or extreme focus, and one more new passive skill: killing stroke. Every time I killed, my speed increased, plus 10 AGI per enemy, up to 10 stacks. I'd move faster, become unstoppable. But there was something else. Max level reached. Evolution required. 3 choices available. Noctura. Special zombie evolution. All stats X2. AGI X4. All skills except new or newly evolved skills. Gain plus 5 levels. Adds special poison effect to all attacks. Med rank ghoul. Brutal physical type evolution. STR and VIT increase drastically. Low rank vampire. Hybrid type evolution. Increases MP and adds basic healing skill. I didn't hesitate. I chose Noctira. My body suddenly shook violently. Heat exploded from within. My cells burned and restructured. Muscles, skin, bones, everything was renewed. I screamed, not from pain, but from the sheer intensity. The world spun. My vision blurred, and I passed out. I didn't know how much time had passed. When I woke up, my body felt different, lighter but stronger. I touched my cheeks, still cold, but softer, and my hair and skin were smoother. The system appeared again. Status. Name: Sylvia Hortensia. Race, Noctera. Evolved zombie and rank 2. Element, death. 1% chance to auto-kill enemy. Level, 130. Stats, HP, 12,000. 12,000. MP, 00. Stree, 1380. VIET, 12,000. NT, 120. AGI, 368. Luck, error. Active skills. Infectious bite, 620. Razor toxic claw, 140. Phantom dash, 1520. Void steps, wanton and passive skills. Killing stroke. Med regeneration, 15 to 20. 72 HP SS case. Toxic affinity, new. All attacks contain combined poisons, nerve, blood, and corrosive types. Titles: Reincarnated. Increases system understanding and body adaptation. First evolution. Boosts stat growth after each evolution. Second evolution. Further boosts stat growth. A blessing from goddess of life and death, Persephone. Grants the death element. Allows absorption of energy from the dead to heal self. Chapter 17. Chapter 17. A breathtaking new world. I received a blessing from a goddess? I whispered softly. My eyes were fixed on the words in my status. Blessing of the goddess of life and death, Persephone. So, gods really do exist, I murmured, almost like I was talking to myself. In my mind, that voice echoed again, gentle, cold, and calming. The voice that reached out to me just before I lost consciousness. Was that Persephone's voice? I didn't know, but one thing was certain. This blessing gave me new power, the death element. A power that felt so profound, not just the power to kill, but something that brushed the edge between life and death. I took a deep breath and sat up. My body still felt strange, not weak, but as if I had evolved too far from my original form. I felt more refined, more agile, and stronger than ever before. My eyes scanned my surroundings, trees, bushes, soil, and the gentle breeze rustling the leaves. I was in the forest. No cars, buildings, and no sign of human presence, only nature. I stood up, stretching this new body. It felt unfamiliar, and yet it fit me perfectly, as if it had been made just for me. Then a new thought surfaced in my mind. Humans, the ones who attacked me, who hunted me like a monster, even though I had done nothing to deserve it. I didn't kill them first. I didn't provoke them. I didn't even fight back until they gave me no choice. My hand clenched tightly against the bark of a tree. Memories of their bullets tearing through my body, the fear in their eyes turning into cruelty, the way they looked at me, not as a person, but as prey. Anger boiled in my chest, a cold, burning fire. They didn't hesitate. They didn't ask why. They didn't care. And for a moment, I wanted to return, to show them who I was now, to make them pay. But then, I closed my eyes and exhaled slowly. No, not yet. I placed my hand over my chest, feeling the steady rhythm of my undying heart. This is not the time, I whispered in my heart. I will return when I'm strong enough. And when that day comes, let them see what they've created. My steps grew lighter as I walked through the forest. I needed to find a high vantage point. If I could determine where I was, maybe I could find my way back to the city, or decide to never return at all. It didn't take long to find it. A large tree, taller than the rest. Its bark was rough, but easy enough to grip. With my sharp claws, I climbed quickly. Branch after branch passed beneath me like I was a wild beast, fast and light. And when I reached the top, I froze. A sea of endless trees stretched as far as the eye could see. A thin mist hovered above the canopy, creating an almost mystical scene. But that wasn't what made me freeze. It was the creatures moving among the trees. Tigers, but not ordinary tigers. Their bodies were twice the size of a truck. Their forms were covered in black spikes, and their eyes glowed a bright, eerie red. Bears, even more terrifying. As tall as a 2-story house. Their claws were as thick as tree trunks. Each step they took shook the ground. Wolves. They moved in packs, sliding through the underbrush with fluid motion, their bodies long and slender, like a blend of wolves and monstrous hounds. Everything had mutated, and yet something felt strange. I wasn't afraid. They were terrifying. But I knew I had changed too. I was part of this world now. I remembered the city. Giant rats the size of goats. Rabid dogs twice their normal size. Cats with 5 eyes and dagger-like claws. If the city was already like that, then this forest was far wilder. The world had changed, or perhaps this was its true form. Without humans to rule and suppress it, I sat on a thick tree branch, letting the wind blow across my pale face. In the distance, massive black birds the size of eagles flew through the sky. Some dropped small animals midair, maybe to eat them mid-flight, or just for sport. I didn't know how long I sat there, watching the world from above. But for the first time, I didn't feel alone. I was a part of this world, this new world, and maybe this is my home now. Chapter 18. Chapter 18. An unwanted flight. From atop the tree, I was still enjoying the view when suddenly the sky darkened. No, not because of clouds. I looked up, and what I saw stole the breath from my lungs. An eagle, but not an ordinary eagle. This one was massive. Its body stood at least 5 meters tall, comparable to a large truck upright. Its wingspan stretched over 10 meters, like a shadow ready to swallow the sky. Its feathers shimmered with deep black and hints of violet, and its eyes, 2 glowing red orbs, locked onto me. I froze. "Oh, she," I muttered inwardly. Before I could even move, those iron-like talons struck. Snap! I was trapped within its grip. Strong, unbreakable with normal force. Its claws clamped down on my shoulders like a steel trap, giving me no room to resist. My body lifted off the ground. Wind lashed against my face and hair as it took off, diving once, then soaring high into the sky. I was being taken away. From above, the trees looked like bushes. The earth became a dark green blur. The world shrank beneath me. The air grew colder. I couldn't move, not because of fear, but because it all happened too fast. That eagle was too big and too dominant. Was this a rank 2 mutant beast? Or higher? I couldn't even guess. The aura it radiated sent my instincts screaming, survive. And then, for the first time in a while, the system voice returned. Quest system active. Title: Evolution: Hunt description: kill 100. Rank 2, mutant beasts within 7 sin days. Reward: active skill. Appraisal: failing to complete this quest will erase any future-related quests. Remaining time: 168 hours. I froze. What? I screamed internally, not because of how hard the quest was, but look at me now. I didn't even know where this eagle was taking me. Didn't know if I was going to be its lunch or just tossed from the sky for fun. And now the system gives me my first quest. Excellent timing, system. Truly impeccable. I sighed, resigned, but not completely. I began analyzing. Its grip, strong, but maybe I could break free using razor-toxic claw on the joints between its talons. But if I fell from this height, I'd be shattered. My HP was full. But from hundreds of meters in the air, it might not be enough. Not to mention if it attacks while I'm falling. I needed to wait for the right moment. Wait, and learn more about this creature. If I could survive this, then the system's hunt wouldn't be a dream. I might even level up faster. But first, I had to escape from this giant bird's claws. I strained my neck to move, trying to look around. Wind roared against my face, whipping my hair wildly. The scenery below began to change. No longer thick forests, but jagged cliffs and wide valleys. It looked like the eagle was heading to its nest, perhaps a rocky area, or a cave it called home. I suspected I was about to become its lunch. But then my eyes caught something. Below, near the cliffside, a herd of mutant deer with 4 branched antlers. On the other side, a 6-eyed bear dragging the carcass of a mutant wolf. In other words, this was a hunting ground. And maybe the eagle wouldn't kill me right away. Maybe it would just drop me into the middle of the field. Chapter 19. Chapter 19. Bloody field and trial from the sky. I fell. Not a free fall from the sky, but thrown down to the ground with a grip that was deliberately released like I was a bag of trash, not a living being. My body hit the coarse, grassy ground with a heavy thud, but I quickly got up by reflex. My eyes immediately looked up at the sky, and there it was, still flying low. The eagle, a massive creature with golden wings, feather tipped with silver, and violet eyes that radiated a mysterious aura. Its wings stretched wide with arrogance, its body hovering in the air like a king watching pawns on a chessboard. And then it spoke. Only one may survive. Its voice was deep, echoing through the air like the clang of metal. The one who endures until the end will receive a gift from me. I froze. My eyes widened. This creature can talk? I gritted my teeth, my mind racing. What the hell? A mutant creature can speak? According to the remnants of memories from this body, the world descended into chaos just 2 months ago. Only 2 months since the mutation, the destruction, and this strange system emerged. But a creature like him? This was no ordinary mutated beast. It was something far beyond. What rank is he? Rank 3 or even higher? And why is he doing this? Is this just entertainment for him or part of something bigger? I didn't have time to ask further when the ground around me began to shake. Footsteps. Heavy, many, fast. My eyes scanned the surroundings. I was on open ground, surrounded by rocks and tall trees. But now, from all directions, large figures began to emerge. Mutant tigers, with fangs as long as swords. Giant wolves with 3 eyes and bristling spike-like fur. Bears with glowing green claws. as if poisoned. Armored wild boars snorting loudly. They were all heading for me. Not because of the scent of blood, not out of hunger. Because I was the only humanoid in this place. Because that eagle had thrown me into the middle of a gladiator arena. Of course. Damn it, I muttered, resigned but ready. My hands shot up. My claws extended, black and gleaming with deadly poison. My eyes began to glow with a faint purple light from the newly acquired death element. I could feel it rage. Not blind fury, but a survival instinct turned into cold clarity. As if my body already knew, if you don't kill, you'll be killed. Come on, I whispered, then rolled my shoulders, a thin smile forming on my face. Come at me. Let the game begin. And then they charged. The first was the spiked wolf. It leapt high, claws seized, aiming for my throat. But my body had already moved faster. Void steps. In an instant, I vanished from my position and appeared behind it. Before it could even turn, my poisoned claw slashed its neck. Screech! Thud! One down. But I had no time to breathe as two mutant tigers charged from the right and left. I launched Phantom Dash in quick succession, 2, 3, 4 times, zigzagging through them, slashing their legs and backs, leaving gaping wounds laced with venom. Strike after strike, movement after movement. Killing stroke activated. My speed increased. My AGI rose 10 stacks. I became even faster. Their movements could no longer keep up with mine. I was a shadow among giants. Blood spilled, flesh torn, roars and groans filled the air. I lost count of how many I had butchered. My body was covered in wounds, but med regeneration worked overtime. 72 HP per second. Enough to keep me moving non-stop. I climbed up a mutant bear's back, stabbing into its eyes. I dodged the boar by leaping into the air, then crashed down like a bullet from above. Die, all of you, die. I didn't know how many I had erased, but the ground began to flood with blood. Even that eagle, still watching from above, seemed intrigued or surprised. This was a slaughter field, and I was its executioner. After what felt like hours, only I remained for now. My breath was heavy, my dress torn, wounds everywhere. But I stood. Unconsciously, I looked up at the sky, searching for the creature that had thrown me into this hell. It was still there, watching, and I knew one thing. I was still alive. Chapter 20. Chapter 20. Atop a heap of corpses, I sat atop the body of the massive wolf I had just beheaded. My breathing was heavy. Though not from exhaustion, I didn't have normal lungs, and my heart barely functioned like a human's. I was just still, processing everything. The ground around me was dark red. The air was thick with the smell of iron, blood, and scorched flesh. Mutant corpses littered the battlefield, some charred, some torn apart, some utterly destroyed. This battlefield had just been hell. I tried to remember how long the fight lasted, but there was no answer. The sky had no clear sun due to the smoke and dust of battle, and I had been too focused on surviving to count the time. 1 hour, maybe 5, perhaps more. All I knew was I was still here, still whole and alive. And all my enemies were dead. I leaned my back against a large wolf, staring ahead blankly. For the first time since I was reincarnated, I felt something akin to fatigue. Not physical, but mental. This battlefield was too intense, too brutal, but I couldn't complain. I wasn't human. I was a zombie. No stamina, muscle fatigue, and panting breath from lack of oxygen. I could keep moving, keep fighting, and keep killing. As long as my body wasn't completely destroyed, I wouldn't stop. And that's why I survived. Ding! The faint sound of the system echoed in my head again. I had heard it several times during the fight, but I hadn't had the time to read all the notifications that popped up. Skill ups, level ups, blood spilled. I kept moving, over and over again. I summoned my status screen for the first time since being thrown into this place. Status. Name, Sylvia Hortensia. Race, Noctura. Rank 2, Evolved Zombie. Element, Death Level, 1130. Stats, HP, 9,200. 14,000. Mites, 0. TR, 1780. VIT, 10,000. INT, 120. GI, 448. Luck, error. Active skills. Infectious bite, 820. Git razor, toxic claw, 540. Phantom dash, 20. Max. Shadow piercing, 140. Moves through shadows at high speed, causing a phasing effect and shadow damage when passing through enemies. Enemies hit will suffer deep wounds and a 30% slow effect. Cooldown, 5 seconds. Void steps, 310. Passive skills. Killing stroke. Med regeneration, 20. Max. High regeneration, 140. Restores 250 HP per second. Toxic affinity. Blood instinct, new. When blood splashes onto your body, your attack power increases by 5% for 10 seconds. Can stack up to 5 times. Titles: Reincarnated. First evolution. Second evolution. Blessing from Goddess Persephone. Active quest. Hunt 100. Rank 2 mutant beasts. Saw progress. 61 on 100. Reward, skill, appraisal. Time remaining, 6 days, 14 hours. Only 61? I muttered hoarsely. I thought I had slaughtered more than 100, but maybe some of them weren't rank 2. Some looked weaker, perhaps only rank 1s that got caught up in the bloodbath. Still, I leveled up 10 times. Phantom Dash and Med Regeneration had maxed out and got evolved. A new passive skill, Blood Instinct. I nodded slowly. The effect. It suited me perfectly. I was always drenched in blood, wasn't I? Of course, this body would adapt. I really am more monster than anything now. I chuckled softly, bitter and faintly proud. But that pride didn't last long. A high-pitched sound cut through the air. A shadow of massive wings fell over the blood-soaked ground. He had returned. The eagle. The terrifying creature who had thrown me into this place without warning. The silent judge of this massacre. He hovered low, gazing down at me with glowing violet eyes, ominous and deep like a bottomless abyss. And for some reason, this time I didn't feel like I was looking at an animal. I felt like I was being watched by something godlike. You're still alive. Interesting, he said, his heavy voice shaking the air. I didn't answer, because I still can't speak, then just stared back, wary. You are humanoid, yet not truly alive, and truly dead. The eagle dove slightly and landed on a tall rock, his feathers billowing in the wind of his own creation. Beings like you are anomalies, but also potential. I narrowed my eyes, but he just looked over the battlefield littered with mutant corpses. Of all the creatures I've thrown into this arena, few have slain more than 50. None have reached 61. I tilted my head in confusion. Then he spread his wings slightly, like a king about to declare judgment. Complete this. His voice faded like a whisper on the wind, and he soared high, fast, disappearing into the dark clouds above. I exhaled deeply, my head drooping. Then I laughed. A small, bitter laugh. God, my life's turning into some kind of hellish survival game. I rose to my feet, eyes fixed toward the forest ahead. 40 more mutants to kill, and barely 6 days left for my quest. Maybe I was lucky to fall here. I clenched my hand, feeling the pulse of power within me. It's fine. I'll do it. Because I'm no longer the Sylvia I used to be. I am the monster behind the smile, and blood is just the beginning.